How was it too for you? You know, it sounds like you're under 20 at this point and you're in LA and
Right.
Ventura. Just from the short time I've been up here, it's beautiful.
Right.
It's a slower paced. I'm not seeing angry drivers on the road like LA. And I'm just wondering how that was for you to go from such a nice place to like this intense town. And there's good parts of LA too, but
Exhilarating.
was it?
Because, you know, it is very sort of, it's slower and more calm and peaceful. But I was born in Philadelphia. So I was born a city kid. So I like being in the city, you know, and there's just more, there's a trade-off. You know, if you're in Los Angeles, you don't necessarily, I mean, Los Angeles is actually a pretty beautiful city in and of itself. But the access to that beauty is a lot harder than in Ventura. You want to go to the beach, you drive up to the beach, you park your car, you go to the beach. Here, you got to park and you got to find the thing, you got to pay the guy, and you got to, you know, there's a lot of stuff before you can actually just walk out onto the sand. But, you know, there's also so much more available in terms of culture and art and all of these things. Whereas in Ventura, you know, not as much.
Right. But a beautiful place here.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous place.
Gorgeous place. And, you know, not devoid of art, but it is a different category.
Right. You were on the show for how long, Doogie Howser?
I was on Doogie, what did we run? 4 seasons, so I was there for 3. I did a guest spot in the first season, and then they brought me on for the second, and then we ran for 3 after.
So after the show finished, what was your game plan and what did you end up doing?
I wanted to just do more. I wanted to do film. I really wanted to do film. There weren't a lot of things available that fit what I wanted to do. So that became sort of a frustrating thing. There was also, not a lot, but a little bit of, you do a show like Doogie, and then you end up with this iconic character that Neil played. And so everybody sort of gets, for lack of a better term, Doogified. So it's like, well, we don't know if we want our movie to be about Doogie Howser because you're so known for that show. Obviously, it's not as bad, you know, for those of us that weren't Doogie. I mean, Neil, what Neil's accomplished is amazing, you know, because he successfully overcame what was an iconic child star role, you know, and it took a while for people to see past Doogie and see Neil, the talent that he is. But that was a little bit of, you know, struggle. I did a lot of stuff in TV. I did a lot of pilots that didn't go. I read for a lot of pilots that did go. But ultimately, I just kind of wanted to continue acting. I don't know that I had a game plan per se. I just was one of those actors that depended on the representation. And it took me a while to figure out that if I wanted to get something done, that I needed to be more proactive, take matters into my own hands. And that took a while. Took a while to figure that out.
This is before sort of web series and social media and all
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, this is way before that.
Right. So you're still staying in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And were there any points where you wanted to come back to Ventura and you said, I'm
No.
done with this, or no?
No. I always knew that I wanted to be working in this business ever since I was a little kid, even though I got laughed at. But, you know, I just knew that there had to be a way to maneuver within this industry. And I think the problem that I had as an actor was that I kept myself in a position of not knowing things. You know, I was an actor who sat by the phone and waited for the call and got upset because a call didn't come. And that's no one's fault but mine. You know what I mean? There's a great, one of my favorite shows is Taxi. I love Taxi. So great, so good. There's a line in Taxi where Alex is talking to Bobby, who's the actor in the show. And Bobby's so upset and he's so frustrated and he gave himself this amount of time to make it in New York. And Alex says to him, listen, all I know is that if you want a job, you got to go find a line to stand in. You can't just sit around complaining. And that's what I hadn't done at that time. I was still sitting around and complaining like Bobby. I had to figure out where that line was and how to go stand in it and change things. And that's how I landed on screenwriting.